Good morning and welcome to the third round of action. Once again, we're at Warner Park in beautiful St. Kitts and Nevis. It's the CWI Women's T20 Blaze going down here. We've had two exciting rounds already. If you've missed it, make sure to log on to windiescricket.com for all of those details. But here, it's the start of a triple header. Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas, they're taking on the Windward Islands. Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas, they're second in the table. The Windwards down around 5 at both sides, 1 win and 1 loss. We're expecting a very exciting day of action, a very competitive day of action. News from the toss, well, the Windwards, they've won the toss and having a bowl first here today. I had a chance to talk to the skipper, Afi Fletcher, and she mentioned some overnight rain, and she's thinking that maybe that might play a factor in terms of maybe some movement in the air. Maybe the outfield might not run as quickly, given that there's a bit of moisture or water currently in the outfield. Anisa, Mohammed, the skipper for Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas, she was quite happy to bat first on this track because we've known that there have been some runs on it. If we think back to their last match versus Jamaica, the batting kind of faltered at the start and at the end, but the middle, the pair of Brittany and Anisa Mohammed especially, they start to get that momentum going, and they'll be hoping that the top order can probably do the job for them here, and then that back end of it, they could get some runs, maybe put a target of maybe 130 plus on the board here today. Who knows? But Windwards, certainly a side not to be counted out. Everybody is still fighting for points, and like I said, today is going to be the start of what is going to be 3 exciting matches of action in the CWI Women's T20 Blaze. Well, if we're thinking about the surface behind me, I wouldn't necessarily say a worn surface, but you played on it across this tournament with the Super 50 and now into the T20s. It's looking probably a little drier at the start than we've seen a couple of these surfaces, but I do expect it to have some good pace in it, some good bouncy ball should come onto the bat, and it should make for an exciting day of cricket all around. Well, that's it from me down here. I'm going to head up to the studio where the guys are ready to start the commentary, give you a little more perspective on what we could probably look out for. Like I said, let's get ready to rumble. We're out in the sound for round number 3 of the CWA Women's T20 Blaze. It's morning match time. Windwards taking on Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas, Afi Fletcher and Anisa Mohammed. Mr. Carl Felix is the match referee. I believe you're the home captain, Anisa. We're out in the sound for round number 3 of the CWA Women's T20 Blaze. It's morning match time. Windwards taking on Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas, Afi Fletcher and Anisa Mohammed. Mr. Carl Felix is the match referee. I believe you're the home captain, Anisa. Honour is all yours. Heads is the call. And it's a head. All right, so you want to toss. Afi, what are you guys doing?
We're going to have a ball first.
Any particular reason why?
I think we're playing with the condition. I mean, like, it had a lot of rain yesterday, so then I think the outfield might be a little bit, let's see how it goes, a little bit heavy, so let's just see how it goes out and if we're going to lighten out a bit in the second half.
No problem, Afi, thank you very much. Enjoy your time in the sun. Anisa, having a bat first, how do you feel about that?
I feel pretty confident about having a bat first. I think we just want to allow our batters to just go out and be free and not have that scoreboard pressure on them.
All right, 1-1 in terms of wins and losses. How are you guys looking to approach today?
We're still going for a win. You never could tell what could happen at the back end of the tournament. You know, Barbados, Jamaica still have hard games, and cricket is played on the day. So we still want to ensure that we have as much points as possible going forward.
Well, like I told Afi, enjoy your time in the sun. That's it there. News from the toss. Windwards, they've won it, and they're going to have a bowl first.
the field after winning the toss and decided that they would bat first. And with me this morning is Joel Manning. And Joel, welcome once again to St. Kitts and to Warner Park, as we are all anticipating a very good contest between these two teams. As the match contested previously, they were very interesting and exciting, entertaining, and no doubt all teams would be learning from each other. But once again, welcome to Warner Park and to St. Kitts and Nevis, the Federation. But cricket, lovely cricket, is just about ready to start, Joel, and we are all anticipating a wonderful day's play because there are 3 encounters today, one at 2:30 and one at 7 p.m.
Good morning to all the viewers watching on the YouTube stream. Certainly a wonderful opportunity to be back to Warner Park for round number 3 of this CWA Women's T20 Blaze. As you mentioned, certainly an exciting contest on our hands here. 2 sides who have gone 1-1 across the first 2 rounds of this tournament. Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas currently placed in 2nd, and the Windwards currently in 5th, but that's just because of the net run rate. But in terms of the balance of the sides, both of them well balanced, and I do expect this to be a very even contest here in the beautiful sunshine of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Yes, indeed. So it looks like Etienne is going to open the bowling attack from the southern or Lozak road end, with the wicketkeeper standing back, a solitary slip. There is a short third man, a point, a deep extra cover on the boundary, a cover, a mid-off, a mid-on, a mid-wicket, and a fielder on the long leg boundary. So we're going to have Etienne with the first delivery from the southern end. What would be produced? A dot ball played quietly back down the track, and there is no run. So Joel will give our listeners the teams for today for both the Windward Islands and Trinidad and Tobago. But we are looking at Etienne in this, just the second delivery, and a confident appeal. Carl Tuckett might have just thought that the batter got an inside edge there and decided it's not out.
Well, for our viewers looking at the screen, just a quick change. There's in fact not Brittany Cooper that's on strike. In fact, it's Renice Boyce opening the batting for Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas at the moment.
Well, that one was pitched on a good length, so just played quietly out to cover. So quiet start, and this is just the first over. The Windward Islands won the toss, and they figure that they would prefer to bowl first, which they are now doing, and Etienne is going to do so now down the leg side, but there is a fielder down on the long leg boundary, so Boyce gets off the map.
Very easy single there to open the account for Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas.
Yeah, that is middle.
I mentioned before our viewers saw the toss that there was a bit of a wobble at the start for them in that last encounter versus Jamaica, and they'll be hoping that they can improve on that. And I think that they've made a change at the top of the order as well because of that.
White ball.
Yeah, one more to the extras now, which advances the total as 2 without loss. Yes, just into the first over. Etienne is operating from the southern or Lozak road end. Sue Grimm is coming forward, just playing it quietly out to short mid-wicket. Inside the 30-yard circle, though, all teams have to be very particular in cutting off those sharp singles and applying pressure to the batters to use some sort of indiscretion. It's a mix-up. Is this the first wicket going down? And it goes by the run-out route. So miscommunication. Sugrim just played it to the right of a short mid-wicket who had to move paces to her right. It appears from our vantage point that she did call, but did not get the response. But Joel, you might have seen something different happening there.
Well, in fact, it was Janaba Joseph who was opening the batting with Renice Boyce on that particular occasion. But something that we've seen across the Super 50 and something that we've seen also in this tournament, a lot of batters going via the run-out with a lot of teams and not communicating, especially at the start of innings. I mentioned that they did not get off to the best of starts, and that has continued here today. At the end of one, Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas 2 for 1.
Well, thus far, the Windwards would be pleased in terms that they won the toss and decided that they will field first, and has gotten an early result in the wicket, going down by the run-out route. So 2 it is for 1. And Trinidad and Tobago knows how important it is also too to try and establish a partnership. But at the same time, though, on the other hand, the Windward Islands would have had their plan coming into this game after winning the toss and decided that they will field first. Well, Kiana Joseph is going to operate from the Northern or C.A. Paul Southwell Media Center end, and she was very successful in the Super 50. And very good move by Affy Fletcher, the captain of the Windwards, to bring her most successful bowler to open the attack. And also, too, a wicket going down. 2 it is for 1. So good move, Joel, by the captain Affy Fletcher.
A good move indeed. Kiana Joseph picked up 16 wickets in the Super 50. In fact, the leading wicket taker across the tournament, which included a hat-trick and a 5-wicket haul right here at this ground.
Well, that was a very ferocious appeal. But Boyce was coming well forward on the front foot. And the umpire decided it's not out, Carolyn Brown. Here is another delivery. And there is the short mid-on there in Etienne, prevented the possibility of any run. So a good 2 first deliveries from Kiana Joseph. Left arm over the wicket, short. The batter not getting control that she would have liked, even though there's a feel out on the deep mid-wicket area. I think she was probably trying to get it there, but probably they had a little more bounce on the ball. Oh, it's through the keeper and almost struck the off stump, and at that sudden end where there's some pigeons, they dispersed as the ball went in that direction. So bye is being signaled. So that delivery, Joel, did deceive the batter to an extent, but luckily for Boyce that it didn't struck her off stump.
Yeah, a bit of flight on that occasion, but it's very interesting to know that Brittany Cooper strode out to the crease now batting at 3. She batted down the order in the match before this, and she was required to kind of add some impetus to the innings, and she's now been elevated. And I think it's just a case of looking to take advantage of the power play. She's really that hard-hitting batter. Just the one delivery to close out the over. After 2, it's 3 for 1.
Yeah, and Brittany Cooper coming in at this particular time to Joel, it can be a matter that get her in so she can face as many overs as possible. So promoting the batting order. Well, between herself and Boyce, they're going to really have to try to see if they can put a partnership together. But obviously, if the Windwards keep taking wickets, it also adds a lot more pressure on Trinidad and Tobago. But they have gotten a wicket so far. That's the Windward Islands. They won the toss and decided that they will bowl first. So Affy Fletcher that's having a short conversation with her bowler Etienne, who is going to make her way back at that southern end to continue her second over.
Watch it.
That was a good single, playing it with soft hands just out to short extra cover, and the fielder had to come some paces in off of the 30-yard circle. And if the batters can keep the wrist work whereby just playing with soft hands, like now, if a delivery pitch on the off stump, instead of hitting it hard to the short point, just play it where she has to move more to her right or left with soft hands, and there's a single. Actually, that single can be had in all the 3 different areas with the inner ring within the circle, but a good delivery right on target. And the more bowlers too can bowl more wicket-to-wicket deliveries, is most likely that they can be more successful.
Yeah, it's very interesting you mentioned the singles factor, but I don't think that's the reason that Brittany Cooper is out there. I do think that at some stage we will see her looking to take on the inner circle. Yeah, especially given that she's been promoted up the order, certainly in terms of the possibility of facing a lot more deliveries, yeah, but not many teams have been able to take advantage of the power plays across this T20 blaze. And I like the move that Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas have made, is just to see whether or not it pays off for them.
Well, and she's a very reliable and capable batter, so all is in favor of that way of thinking. So let us see if she will make use of this opportunity. She comes forward and one played quietly out to cover, but they were off the run quite quickly. In looking at the Jamaicans, the last game that they played right here at Warner Park, what I like that they, from ball 1, they were running with urgency, and anything going out into the deep areas, they were looking to capitalize on every opportunity to get every available run. And if that pattern can continue from this game here until the series end, that will be very good, because you have to look for every available run.
A bit of movement there from Pearl at the end, back in towards Renice Boyce, taking the inner portion of the bat. Probably thought she had a chance there in terms of hitting the front pad of Boyce. We'd have to say a quiet start here so far. Just one delivery left in the 3rd over of this match. Doesn't get bat onto that one. 3 bowled. It's 6 for 1.
Well, we see 2 players from Trinidad and Tobago going out into the middle. There is an exchange of boots, and obviously there can also be some messages along with those exchange of boots. It looks like Boyce who is getting, yes, she's changing her boots, so making certain that she's comfortable at the crease, which is very important. All your gears, as a batter, you must be comfortable at the crease in your pads, your boots, and especially the batting gloves. That is why on many occasions it is not a good idea to let someone else use your gloves, because especially if they have bigger hands and you have smaller hands, when you go into your gloves now, it will be very uncomfortable. Well, I guess all these factors these players would be aware of, that their coaches and so on would most likely give those directives. But Boyce is going to receive from Joseph. Joseph is going to go in from the northern end. And left arm orthodox spinner. So it's quite obvious her line is going to be just on or about off stump thereabout, with most feelers on the offside for the right-handed Boyce, who quietly plays it down to mid-off and no run. And that also is another area where batters can be so alert by just looking at where the feelers are placed and what their shot selection should be. Well, there was almost a little hesitation there, but anytime the ball goes behind the batter's back, it's the non-striker's call, because they have better vision as to where the ball is. Well, from a Trinidad and Tobago point of view, they would hope that they do not have any more run-outs in this innings. Here is one swept into the backward square leg boundary for 4, disperse the pigeons out there in that area, and it crosses the line now. So a welcome for Trinidad and Tobago, advances their total now. It should be 10, yes, 10 for 1 in 3.4. Good stroke, Joel.
Yeah, certainly a good stroke from Renice Boyce there. Body line, you would have to say, from Kiana Joseph. Just going on with the arm towards the leg side. No real protection anywhere behind square for her. So a good shot for Renice Boyce. That certainly will get her confidence going. They get one, but probably feel as if she maybe missed out there with a full toss. Probably opening the bat face a bit more, using some wrist work, and could have gotten it through the covers. Just a single though to keep the strike rotating. And behind it to end off the fourth. It's 11 for 1. It's interesting looking at the body language currently of Brittany Cooper. And like I mentioned before, I know in terms of the elevation of her up the order, it has to be in terms of her looking to kind of just push things on, probably take advantage of the power play. She hasn't faced that many deliveries just yet, but in terms of how we've seen her go about it, she's been quite reserved, just facing the last delivery of that over there, given that Brittany Cooper would have batted the first 5, defended it, but then just looking at her body language, she's looking down at it. I'm just wondering if it's a case of maybe she might want a bit more strike from the spinner, given that, you know, she's looking to probably go after it, whether or not it means that she might play a loose shot because she's cold at the moment, almost having been starved of the strike. There's so many scenarios going through the head after looking at the body language. It looks to be a bowling change though from that Lozak road end.
Karina Noel, yes, is gonna come from the southern or Lozak road end. Renice Boyce, she has faced some 13 deliveries. She's just 7 runs. And Brittany Cooper, 6 deliveries, 1 run, 11 for the loss of 1 wicket. This is over number 5 in progress. And here is one played past the short fine leg. They were going to think about 2, but the fielder is onto it quickly. 12 for 1, 4.1 overs so far. The Windward Islands, they won the toss and decided that they will bowl first. And so far, they has gotten some success. Well, oh, and I thought on that occasion there that Brittany Cooper might have just missed out from that short pitch delivery where she was aiming to hit it over mid-wicket but did not connect. But here she is now, Joel. She has the opportunity to receive some more deliveries and try to really see how much more runs she can get before the power play concludes.
Yeah, I think she just probably missed out because of where she was looking to hit that particular delivery. As I mentioned, I know for sure that at some stage she would be looking to go in that shot. Probably tells us exactly that. Or probably could have been looking maybe even to slap that down the ground, because even though it was short, I don't think it was as short. And Karina Noel, for me, is not somebody who's going to bang the ball into the surface for it to get up either. So just in terms of where she's currently looking to access in terms of the field, I probably think straight down the ground, probably towards the offside in terms of that flat batted shot, probably her better options. And as soon as I mentioned that one probably just jumping out the surface a little more than Boyce expected, and maybe that could be from the moisture factor that Affy Fletcher mentioned at the toss. There's protection out there, so just the one. So all in all, looking as we head towards the completion of 5 overs, Windward Islands certainly will be happy with how things have gone for them. They've been able to keep Trinidad and Tobago Red Force quiet. And add one more dot ball to close out the 5th. It's 14 for 1.
Yeah, and I think the Windward Islands, after winning the toss and decided to bowl first, so far they have really been bowling well. And with just one more over to go before the first power play, 5 overs have been concluded. It's 14 for 1. 5 overs have been bowled. Well, Zayda James is going to come on from this to the northern end, another bowling change. So the captain ringing the changes for the Windward Islands. And I'm now being joined by Clement Ogaro, more popularly known in St. Kitts and Nevis and wider field in the Calypso arena as the Monarch. Good morning to you, Clement.
Good morning, Victor.
Well, we're going to see
There you go, Z.
the James for the first time. Heavy pack offside field. The delivery, and Boyce is the batter. Strokes it down, a fielder coming off the wide long on boundary. Came in, and the total advances now for Trinidad and Tobago on to 15 for the loss of 1. So thus far, the Windwards would be pleased by inserting Trinidad and Tobago. The wicket going down by the run-out route. Zayda James looking for the second. Just played quietly out to point. The captain comes into play, Afi Fletcher.
That's easy, that's easy.
These two will have to consolidate or try to consolidate and build a partnership. But the Windward Islands will be looking to make further inroads. And really, Zayda James thus far bowling to her field. It's a heavy pack offside field for the right-hander. A short third man, a point, a cover, extra cover, and a mid-off. Nice stroke, always one of the better strokes to play in cricket, using the full face of the bat, getting it down to long on and earning a single and advancing the Trinidad and Tobago's total now on to 15 for the loss of 1. And, well, Zayda James is still in operation, 5.4. This is the coming close to the closure of the power play. Getting through the gap after a fielder there at cover did not field it as well, but good coordination by backing up, throwing it over the keeper's head. And Trinidad and Tobago, after being inserted by the Windward Islands, they are 17 for 1. The final delivery coming up of this first power play. Would Zayda James get it right? Well, at least it's only 1 it has resulted in, because it's been played down to a fielder at the wide long on. That has completed the first power play. So after 6 overs, the Trinidad and Tobago, after the Windwards won the toss and decided to field first, they are 18 for the loss of 1 wicket.
18 for 1 in the power play. And yet again, another team who has, I guess, another batting team, I should say, who failed to take advantage of this end of the innings with the field restrictions in place. And so Windward Islands, I'm sure they'd be happy. But with the, the trending in the scoring so far, nobody's gone past 128. So Trinidad can still consider themselves, to have a score that they can defend, as 1 run comes from the bat of Joseph Cooper, that is. Start of a new over from Karina Noel. And she's bowled. Karina Noel celebrates with her teammates. But down goes Joseph for 11 off of 18 deliveries. Trinidad and Tobago 19 for 2. 6.2 overs. So Windwards definitely ramping up the pressure here at Warner Park.
Yes, and after winning the toss, even more so undecided to bowl first. So thus far, it has gone right in their favor.
Good.
And Boyce makes her way back to the pavilion. And it was a delivery from Karina Noel, where she was clean bowl. And really
Brown.
It came off her
think
pads
everything can
also
go
too,
just
but
a little
it's so important that she, Noel, that is, was targeting the stumps. The ideal thing to do, especially in 2020 cricket, because once the batter misses, is either bowled or caught at the wicket, and she was bowled on that occasion.
Yeah, that is
Sorry,
middle.
Joseph.
A 4 to come. Going leg?
To a leg now.
A little bit. Yeah, leg stump.
Oh yeah, boys got run out. Thanks.
No, she good now.
Yeah.
Joseph got run out. Okay, that's all right. Well, the action continues. Kirina Noel from the southern end. She's going to look for more results. Here is the new batter striking that one down to the bowler, who fielded well to her own bowling. And
So just to confirm that the two batters that are out are Boyce and Joseph. Another dot delivery from Noel, who's coming in from the Lozak Road end. And a very good over so far. She's picked up 1 wicket.
yeah, good shadowing there by the fielder, just making certain that the batters do not attempt to get another run. But Noel comes in, bowls, one played, and is there going to be another run out? No, the fielder at short mid wicket. It would have been interesting if she did collected that ball. The batter might have been in some difficulty there, but in the end, Trinidad and Tobago, they got another run. So they are accumulating, and the fielders changing around. So the Windwards, for those of you who might just be joining us here from Warner Park, up against Trinidad and Tobago. The Windward Islands won the toss, asked Trinidad and Tobago to bat first, and after 7 overs, it is 20 the total, 2 wickets going down. So Captain Afi Fletcher and her team, they would be pleased so far and would be looking to make further inroads. And here is the successful Joseph, just having a few words with her teammate here. The present batter on strike. Okay. So the action continues out here. The Windward Islands looking for more wickets. After winning the toss, 2 have gone down for Trinidad and Tobago. That's 2 wickets. 20 is the total. What can happen in now this 8 over ball? We'll have to wait and see if the batter got a touch or it came off the wicketkeeper's pad. But now the signal comes. But in any event, it's 1 more to the total. 21. Trinidad and Tobago batting first for the loss of 2 wickets. And the Windwards doing well thus far up to this particular moment and period of play here at Warner Park. Well, brilliant sunshine so far. Those 2 are in the... Here is Cooper driving one, but an accommodative bounce to Joseph, who is at short extra cover, and there's no run. 21 for 2 is the total. Trinidad and Tobago batting first here at Warner Park against the Windward Islands. Short, and wicketkeeper moving quite urgently from behind the stump, making certain that the batters stay their grounds, which they did. 21 for 2. Good over so far. Another dot ball, and these dot balls adds pressures to batters and batting teams, really in the 2020 version, which is this is the 20 T-Blaze Women's Regional Cricket. Well, they're going to get another run. That's Trinidad and Tobago, which was played down to long on, 22-4-2. These two, Clement, they will have to try and consolidate now and build a partnership for Trinidad and Tobago.
Oh, absolutely, and that's what it's all about. There's still a lot of overs to go, but this game is a game that is played in a rush sometimes, and we haven't really seen a rush here at Warner Park since the women's T20 Blaze has started.
Well, that lasted with the... I would like to believe if the non-striker was backing up, the single would have been on, but the fielder had to move paces to her right. It was played with soft hands, and Clement, that is also an area where batters can get a lot of runs inside the circle, like I've been saying. A little soft hands, either to the left or the right of a fielder. They have to move for it, but because the pace that the ball would be traveling, it gives them enough time to cover 22 yards.
Yeah, and in this game as well, you have to show intent. You want to try to take every run that you can, and sometimes that means taking a risk.
Oh, that's a great catch.
Wonderful catch. And Brittany Cooper, the batter, heading back to the pavilion. A great catch out there in extra cover. Ball was pitched up. She drove it, looking for scoring intent, but only as far as extra cover. So Trinidad now in more trouble at 22 for 3.
Yes, indeed. And as my good friend Joel Manning was saying, that the promotion of Brittany Cooper, and it made sense because she has a wealth of experience. She's a good batter. But on this occasion, the technique, it did not pay off from a Trinidad and Tobago's point of view. But nothing was wrong with promoting her because she have those skills and ability. But today was not the day for her in that aspect. So the Windward Islands still proving themselves that they, and Afi Fletcher, the captain, more so, but the team position overall, most likely that would have been the conclusion why they decided to field first. All that is just on speculation on my behalf, but those things usually be discussed about the toss, what teams will do, and they decided that's the Windward Islands to field first and 3 wickets going down, so they would be pleased by inserting Trinidad and Tobago.
Well, after the first 2 rounds, Brittany Cooper was number 3 in terms of the amount of runs scored, 54. She had 7 fours included in that. As we have the second ball from Noel. Big appeal for LBW. Umpire on moves.
Yes, and that's Carl Tuckett of Nevis, who have had practical experience as a cricketer representing the West Indies in the shorter version of the game. But here is he now giving his contribution as an officiator and an umpire. But there's a little... Again, we are seeing it, and it seems to be a consistent pattern of communication, calling either yes or no. And a lot of times, it is whose call. Well, the striker, the batter on that occasion, I thought that was her call. And then, too, the ball was in the air for a while, so before fielder can get to it, with all that taking place, there is all that possibilities of exploring a run. But let us see what will happen on this occasion. She has gone too far past the non-striker's wicket to come back for a second run.
I mean, there is absolutely no intent whatsoever. On the previous, near run out, the non-striker was ball watching. The ball was behind her. So the call definitely had to be from the batter. She was almost at the other end before the non-striker took off. And same thing happened just now. There's no intent whatsoever.
Well, they're good running on that occasion. They look a little much more purposeful, but a good throw too from the fielder coming around on the long leg boundary. So two well-deserved runs by Trinidad and Tobago. Well, these two would definitely know, even without the coach mentioning it to them, that they need to really get more boundaries and build a partnership. But the inspiration and motivation that the Windward Islands will now have after have taken thus far, and here is another mix-up and another run out. Well, the thing is there. That is the striker's call. The non-striker did not even move, and you're not even supposed to be looking back. From the time she struck the ball and she said one, Clement, the non-striker had all reasons to move out of her blocks because the batter was going to the danger end or the end where the ball couldn't reach much more quicker. So Windward Island still getting fortune.
Well, I don't know if it's fortune. I think that they're playing the game well. It was inevitable. I mean, this was the third attempt at a run out in this over so far, and of course, what did they say? 3 times is what? I don't know. 3 times a charm. Well, it's not a charm, of course, for the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas, but certainly a charm for the ladies from the Windward Islands, who have now snatched up their 4th wicket, of course, 2 by the run out, 2 by the way of the run out, including some of their, of course, their top order batters.
Well, and evidence proven by asking Trinidad and Tobago to bat first. The Windward Islands won the toss, 26, 4 wickets back in the pavilion. The Windward Islands in the driving seat. Here is one driven, but one bounce wide off the fielder though at short extra cover. And on this occasion, they're definitely gonna get 2 and 2 well-deserved runs. Advances the total now on to 28 for the loss of 4 wickets. And speaking about runouts off of a free hit in this T20 Blaze Women's Series, a batter can out off of a free hit by the run out, obstructing the field, or hit the ball twice. So it's 3 ways in this format, and this was given by the match referee. That because we've been saying, or I was the one saying that a batter can only be out off the run out, knowing that that was the general thing in international 2020 cricket. But for this particular series, Clement, this is what has been given to us. So different rules for different formats, and we truly appreciate it. Well, the appreciation for the Windward Islands by winning the toss, 29 for 4, and they will be pleased. So good morning to those of you who might just be joining the view and the conversation here at Warner Park. The Windward Islands versus the Leewards versus Trinidad and Tobago. And Clement, what I did like to see with Jamaica in the last game that they played with their opening batters from ball 1, every time the ball was played in the deep areas, we understand why Jamaica has such a reputation in athletics.
But they still only ended up with 115.
But at least we saw a different sign of running between the wicket in the 2020 Blaze, where the openers set the stage whereby they were looking for every available run in that game. Well, let us hope that can be an existing pattern for the rest of this series, but no run. So the Windward Islands really keeping things tight here on Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes, we're almost at the halfway stage, and 29 for 4 is the score, projected 59. That's the end, of course, of the 10th over, so we're halfway through the innings of the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas. Zeta James completes her over. She has 3 of them for 7 runs, and we're here at Warner Park, and
I'm going to make way for our guest, Mr. Joel Manning. And Joel, you'll come in and give your descriptions. But water break, well, welcome one. And good morning to everyone.
Okay, so while the players take a break, midway through the innings of the Trinidad of Trinidad and Tobago, 29 for 4. We can look at some of the results so far. The only team that hasn't lost a game yet, of course, is Jamaica, and they are the defending champions, so they're showing their worth. Barbados, Windwards, and Guyana, they've all lost one and won one. So too, of course, the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force. Leeward Islands, of course, the only team that hasn't won a game yet in the CWI T20 Blaze competition here at Warner Park. Good morning, Joel. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. It's always a good occasion and always a nice time to be watching cricket, I must say. The action so far we've seen across the first 2 rounds was relatively good. Obviously, there are teams who will want to improve. And talking about improvement, Trinidad Tobago Red Force Divas will want to improve on what they've done here so far. Just looking back at the match that they played versus Jamaica, they found themselves actually in a similar position. They were 38 for 4 after 10 versus Jamaica, but then they had a spirited comeback, especially given the pair of Brittany Cooper and Anisa Mohammed, the skipper at the crease. Well, Brittany Cooper is back in the hut already, and that is somebody who has the ability to elevate the innings and push it on in terms of the momentum. So it'll be interesting to see how they go about this back half in terms of the 10 here now, because from 38 for 4, they got to 109 for 9. But in fact, after 15 overs, they were 80 for 5. And I thought they were actually well set in terms of the possibility of getting that target versus Jamaica, but then just lost their way in terms of some wickets and what we call those death overs, that business end of the match. So the same 4 down for them, a couple runs short of where they were versus Jamaica. So I guess we'll see how they go about this process here now.
Definitely, and I'm sure each of the teams are, pushing here to get that second victory. This is, of course, the 3rd round of matches. But you are right. There's an eerie similarity to the match against Jamaica, where Trinidad wasn't so good in the first half, and then they came back in the second half and put a respectable total, whereas it was the complete opposite for Jamaica. Well, Karina Noel, she's coming in to bowl her last over, and she's picked up 2 for 9 so far. This one is played out square leg, 1 run to the total, 30 for 4. Current run rate still under 3 at 2.95. And we're definitely looking forward to see someone, taking advantage of the final overs when, of course, teams are looking to score, squeeze every possible run out of the balls that they're facing, including the boundaries as well.
I'm just thinking back to the toss with Afi Fletcher mentioning her decision in terms of a lot of that heavy rain factor that we had yesterday. And I actually think it's actually come to the fore in terms of the fact that the ball hasn't seemed to have come onto the bat as well as somebody thought, especially given that the surface looks a lot drier than it has at the start when we started with the Super 50 tournament. So you start to tell yourself it's drying out. The ball should, be coming onto the bat quite nicely. But in fact, every time the ball has just been back pitched a bit, it is almost that tacky bounce, almost in terms of really not that true bounce coming on to the bat. And I think that is also one of the issues that would have plagued Brittany Cooper, somebody who likes to hit through the ball with the ball not coming onto the bat. We saw her being caught at cover, and that could have been because the ball was not necessarily coming onto the bat as well as she wanted. So probably assessing the conditions quite rightly this morning here at Afi Fletcher. And so far, the coin fell in her favor and everything else has fallen for them as well.
So far, it has indeed. And you are right. I think she's assessed the facilities, the wicket properly. And You know, the results has shown so far 30 for 4, an appeal for LBW. Not out, says the umpire. And so Noel goes back to her mark. And she will come in again, of course, to bowl to Shalina Samaru, who has not yet scored, faced 8 deliveries.
Oh, she gets off the mark with 1 to close out 11. It's 31 for 4.
31 for 4 indeed. And of course, when it comes to cricket, this is not the only game that the CWI is involved in. Of course, the West Indies A is over in Zimbabwe. I'm sorry, in Bangladesh, playing against the Bangladesh A. Rain affected the play earlier this morning, and Bangladesh is now at 175 for 5. Looked at the game, and Hakeem Jordan, I know you were from Barbados, he seemed to be something that we haven't seen in a long time. He's swinging the ball both ways and gave the batters a lot of trouble in that game today.
Yeah, we saw it across the first class tournament. We saw it across the head of the week series. Certainly a fantastic find for Barbados and the West Indies, and you know, hoping that he can actually go on to do quite well should he get a pick at the highest level.
Okay, here's Zeta James. This one is punched in the air down to mid long on. 1 run to Samaru. 32 for 4. We're in the 12th over here in the women's T20 Blaze, a CWI production.
Oh, she gets that, but not good enough.
Rina!
And the misfield means that they can get back for 2, but that's the type of intent that I was just about to mention that I hope that we begin to start seeing. And that's what we saw when Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas were in this similar position versus Jamaica. Yes, 4 wickets are down, but at the end of the day, it's just a 20 over encounter. Somebody needs to take on that responsibility of saying, okay, I need to start going after the ball. I probably need to take just a bit more risk to ensure that we can get a total.
I definitely agree with you. Someone needs to put their hand up, you know, to ensure a score over 100. Right now, we're still only projected to go to 59 for Trinidad and Tobago. Here's this one. Oh, there's the intent we're talking about, but in the air and straight to the fielder. So another one goes down.
Yeah, Kiana Joseph has caught quite well, you would have to say, across this match. Another catch in cover for her.
Yes.
A regulation catch almost, given the height it was at. She's happy. The Windwards are happy. They've got number 5 in the bag.
Absolutely, number 5 in the bag. And as you say, this is Joseph's second catch of the game so far. Brittany Cooper was our earlier victim. Caught Joseph Bolnoil for 6 runs. So Amy Fletcher and the Afi Fletcher, that is, and the Windwards, I'm sure, are pretty happy and happy with the decision that they made as well to insert the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas. But I still look at the historic events of the tournament so far, the historic scores, I should say, and we haven't had any major scores as yet. So looks like anything even under 100 is defensible.
Yeah, certainly you never judge it until both sides have batted. Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas will know that they're by far better than this, and they've probably not helped their cause with the 2 runouts that they've had as well. Something that, as I mentioned, you know, we've seen it been a problem across all the teams in this tournament, the communication out there. But at the crease now, probably the best person for the problem, the captain, Anisa Mohammed. A lot of work for her to do to dig her side out.
Oh, that's easy.
She's what we consider that very crafty cricketer in terms of knowing her angles, knowing how to manipulate the field, uses the feet quite well. Also, we saw it in that game versus Jamaica. A lot would have hoped that she could have carried on. But another tall order for her here. And there's that manipulation of the field that I was talking about.
4 runs. Well,
a bit of fancy footwork keeps that one. on the inside, but that is what you're going to get from Anisa Mohammed to close out the over. 6, in fact, 12 bowled. It's 36 for 5.
Yes, she, as you say, has a major role to play. And in just looking at the 4s and 6s in that game against Jamaica, she hit a 6, and that's the last 6 we've had in the tournament so far. So I'm sure she's always a busy player, and I expect no less from her today, you know, where she would want, of course, to put her team on her back and take them through the next 8 overs, you know, scoring at a decent enough clip to get them over 100 at least.
Yeah, I don't even think probably the total is probably big in their mind at the moment in terms of what they're looking to set. I think the first thing for them is momentum. And I think that is what she can probably bring to this innings, and would relish an opportunity like this. Wouldn't like the fact that this is where they are, but would relish a chance to dig her team out. One skipper has come with the bat. The other has come with the ball. This Afi Fletcher now from that Lozak road end. And this is where the battle ensues now, because I talked about the fact that Anisa Mohammed likes to use the feet occasionally as well. I do expect that Afi Fletcher, given the size of the field, will enjoy probably just slowing it up, throwing it into the air, inviting Anisa Mohammed to come down the track to her. And I guess we'll see if she opts to take her on. She's looking to get that feel right in terms of the protective options, knowing that the power play has ended. 4 can be outside of the ring. There's a long on, a deep mid wicket, and a deep backward square leg on the leg side for protection. And there I say, going up in the air with that one. This is going to be an exciting little contest here with these overs for Afi Fletcher, especially also given the fact that, as I mentioned, the ball hasn't necessarily been coming onto the bat just yet. It's interesting that Zeta James is appealing to the, well, I was going to say the square leg umpire, but she's actually standing at point for that one. And she was appealing for a caught behind. And there's that tacky bounce that we're talking about there. And I think that certainly will aid the spin of Afi Fletcher as well. The fact that there's nothing out of the surface. Anisa Mohammed has to do everything here. Uses the feet, doesn't get to the pitch of it. Zeta James in hot pursuit, but can't keep it down from it being 2. Well, just 3 from that opening over. Opening over of Afi Fletcher. It's 39 for 5.
A good over by Afi Fletcher, of course, keeping the pressure on the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas. They're 39 for 4. Captain Anisa is at the crease along with Samaru, and they have some work to do. As you said, the ball is not coming on to the bat as expected, or as was happening in some of the earlier games, and that has caused you know, scoring to be very very difficult. And as you say, Brittany Cooper probably was a victim of that earlier. So we have new bowler Crafton. She's it's Narissa Crafton. She's medium pace, and she will of course be bowling to Samaru, who has scored 3 from 11. It's the CWI T20 Blaze here at Warner Park in St. Kitts. We're in the 3rd round of matches, and of course we have 2 other games today. So if you're listening, if you're viewing the YouTube channel, just, you know, take a stroll up to Warner Park. Come and see some great cricket. We have all the top female cricketers in the Caribbean right here in St. Kitts.
It'll be interesting to see the approach of Samaru now to Crafton. Keeper standing back. I'm looking at where she's standing, and it's probably expected. Batting out of the crease, and that's what I was looking for in terms of just looking to get a lot closer down towards the bowler. Probably force them either to be too full or have to draw their length back, giving them that time to play the ball out of the surface. On that occasion, probably turning the bat face a little too early, and that's why we saw the leading edge there.
Yes, and as you said, the key is getting as close as possible to that ball so that you can, put power behind it without getting to the pitch of it or close enough to it. Definitely a difficulty, and we're seeing it here in the low scores so far, but still have 6.5 overs to go.
Yeah, operating. A bit of a bunt scenario there from Anisa Mohammed. I'm not sure where she was taking off on that occasion. Probably lost sight of the ball.
I know.
But this is good bowling so far from Narissa Crafton, just sticking to exactly what Affy Fletcher wants from her. Protection is out at third, fine leg, sorry, and a square leg, probably just in front of square on the boundary leg side, and then sweeping on the covered boundary. Is the other person out? And she pulls it into the only person in front square on the boundary, on the leg side. This is something that we've also seen done quite well by a few captains in this T20 Blaze as well. And I guess this is because of the familiarity of everyone in terms of the field placements. Well, can't do much with that one, Samaru. And once again, just sticking to the plan. Narissa Crafton keeping things tight.
Really, really tight here. The Windwards are doing an excellent job of limiting the scoring to just a couple of singles per over. 3 so far in this over. 2 balls to go. Crafton once more comes in to Mohammed.
And that's going to be 3 catches for Kiana Joseph. The first wicket for Narissa Crafton. It's Anisa Mohammed. She takes that long walk back to the pavilion.
And the celebration from Kiana Joseph, of course, she just won't, stay out of the game. 3rd catch today, and she's been a force to reckon with for the Windwards. But on the other hand, Trinidad and Tobago wilting here at Warner Park, 42 for 6. We're in the 14th over. And so there's lots of work to be done. It's probably a word that doesn't equate to T20, but there needs to be probably a couple of balls here of consolidation before we can see some kind of takeoff to give Trinidad a score they feel as if that they can defend.
Yeah, just a case of another batter not coming to grips with the surface. And so far, in terms of some of the catches that we've seen, it's been players looking to play on the up and usually get that on an out-and-out true surface, whereby in terms of the contact point of the ball, it'll just be slightly different. And maybe look at the catches that were at covers, because the bat is there before the ball almost, and that's because the ball just isn't coming through. Exactly. So I just think it's a case of players not having made just the little slight adjustments then in terms of looking just play probably a bit later here on this surface. But further trouble for Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas, 42 for 6 and steering up a long hill. What's the longest hill here, the biggest hill in St. Kitts?
Mount Lyomega.
Well, probably steering up Mount Lyomega here.
I almost said Mount Misery, but we've since changed that name to Mount Lyomega. I think my colleagues from St. Kitts can verify that. Yes, and it's right above the picturesque Kittitian Hill out in the St. Paul's area. And here we go. Just got a shot of one of our cargo vessels in at the Deepwater Harbor there in Bird Rock. But Trinidad and Tobago, it needs to be as strong as that vessel right now in order to come back. I don't know. I think our camera guys are trying to find us a picture of Mount Liamiga. Way to go, Pro Video.
Well, Alfie Fletcher to continue. Finds the outer edge of the bat. And that's going to trickle away into the boundary. And Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas, well, they won't care how they come as long as they come.
Absolutely. And the first boundary in forever, I'm thinking. Not quite sure how many in the inning so far. But it takes the score up to 47. And that's the kind of start you want for any over. So Alexander has come in and she's, put 5 runs on the board so far. Then very educated edge. I'm going down to third man.
Yeah, just runs that you don't have to work too hard for. You'll accept those. And no, Alfie Fletcher just making a slight change, a slight adjustment in the field. And this is good thinking cricket from her. Bringing Kiana Joseph into slip, reinforcing that cover position. Probably standing a bit wide, and maybe also because of the pace of this surface, the edges probably will go a bit further away from that regulation first slip position. Goes into the air, tempting Kirbyana Alexander to come down. Well, she tries to go, but has to go back to the pavilion. A bit of a juggle, a bit of a bumble, but it's taken in the end, and that's another wicket for Alfie Fletcher. Another one down for Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas.
And strange enough, had the change in the field not been made, it probably would have been a 4th catch for Kiana Joseph as well. But all that happened is the ball did not get off the square. There was an attempt, of course, to get it over the extra cover, mid-on, long-on area. Alexander just went as far as cover, skied it in the air, and another one goes down for Trinidad and Tobago, 47 for 2. And, of course, who will give Trinidad and Tobago that impetus that they need in these final 5 overs here at Warner Park? And we're going to tell you who comes to join Samaru now. She's been there for 13 deliveries, scoring 5. And, of course, Alfie Fletcher has come on. And in 1.3 overs, she's taken 1 for 7. And leaves Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas with a projected score of only 65. As Alfie Fletcher will come in to bowl her 4th ball of the over.
Well, Karishma Rambarak has joined her now at the crease. Joined her, meaning Shalini Samaru. You mentioned 47 for 2, but you've got to add a little 5 more there. 47 for 7.
47 for 2.
Yeah, Trinidad and Tobago referee would love to be 47 for 2 here today.
I think I'm in the wrong match.
That's a brilliant delivery there from Alfie Fletcher. Utilizing all of her skills here in this contest. And for a second, I wonder if that might have been a return catch or a bum ball on that occasion.
Interesting. Couldn't tell whether or not it was a bump ball, and it doesn't. There was no.
Yeah, I'm looking at the reactions of Alfie Fletcher and the fielder, so that almost maybe might give the indication that it might have been a bump ball on that particular occasion.
Yep. Normally there would be some kind of, reaction in frustration that the catch was put down.
Well, she uses the dancing feet. And she's put down. Well, she danced to the wrong tune, but she gets another chance to live here at Warner Park. A regulation catch, you would have to say, given that she got to it. She's disappointed. Windwards could have had 8. It's 15 gone, 50 for 7.
50 for 7 indeed. And I am going to make way for Mr. Victor Eddy, who can look out from here and see his home.
Well, what could have been number 8 for the Windward Islands has been put down. And they've really done well in the field today. So that almost has gone against the grain, as you would say, against what we've seen from them. Probably might not be made to pay too much for it, given how well they've been able to restrict Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas. But only time will tell if Krishma Ramarat is able to make good on that one. Dancing dangerously with the wide line there is Crafton. Not many extras in this innings, and that's another good sign to see as well, given that extras have done a lot for the totals that we've seen across both the Super 50 and the T20 Blaze. A scamper one, and that seems to be the tone of things for this innings for Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas. Haven't really been able really to get as many boundaries as they would have wanted across this innings. Haven't really gotten any form of momentum also across this innings. A low appeal, and that dreaded finger goes up. 8 down now. And they're dancing across the Windward Islands.
Yes, and the Windward Islands, how outstanding they have performed this morning here against Trinidad and Tobago, especially for those who might just be joining the stream now and our conversations here at Warner Park, the T-Blaze 2020 Women's Regional Cricket. Windward Islands won the toss here at Warner Park against Trinidad and Tobago, decided that they would field first, and it has definitely paid off. 51 is the total. 8 wickets are down. 15.3 overs have been bowled. And Afi Fletcher and her team, the Windward Islands, would be very pleased with the results that they have gotten thus far. 8 wickets going down for Trinidad and Tobago. 51 for 8 is the total. And a toss well calculated and has paid off. Well, Joseph has been outstanding in the field. In the Super 50, she was magnificent with the ball. And she also had a hat-trick in the Super 50. And in this encounter here, in a different format, which is the 2020 T-Blaze Women's Regional Cricket, and taking some very good catches. But the Windward Islands looks like they're going to decide that this one will be a short encounter. But we could never tell in this game of cricket. Crafton is moving away from the northern end. Left armour down the leg side. Well, Trinidad and Tobago will welcome runs to their total in any form or fashion. So what Crafton has to do now is to really try, as a new batter is at the crease, bowl more wicket-to-wicket deliveries, because you can never tell what can eventually the batter do in times like these of desperation. Well, let us see what will happen on this occasion. Outside the off stump, beating the right-hander, heavily packed offside field. So the Windward Islands, they are large and in charge and in full command here at Warner Park against Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes, Samara Ramnath, a new batter to the crease, coming in at number 10 for Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas. And as soon as I mentioned the extras, I don't want to say commentator's curse, but she's delivered 2 of them. And certainly all will matter here for Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas. It's also a case of ensuring that they don't get bowled out and have the opportunity to bat as many deliveries of this 20 overs as possible. And you just wonder what might be the approach for them here. Given that the boundaries haven't been coming, will this pair look to just rotate the strike, take those 1s and 2s that they've been getting before and probably look to get them up to maybe 70-something or 80-something and then work with that? Or will somebody decide that, hey, I still want to give a bit of momentum, a bit of impetus, and have a good old heave and swing? Well, that's going to work for them. That's going to work well. That's the boundary.
Yes, and a good one. A welcome 1-2 in the circumstances. 4 runs. More to Trinidad and Tobago. Advances their cause to try and establish a total that they will figure that they can represent when they have the opportunity to bowl. Just 2 wickets are in hand for Trinidad and Tobago. The Windward Islands won the toss and decided that they will bowl first, and thus far it has been successful on their behalf. So they will be very pleased. After 16 overs, 57 is the total, 8 wickets. Trinidad and Tobago is batting. And this also, at this particular time too, it is good that the captain for the Windward Islands is in operation from the southern end. So the quality spinner that she is, right arm, leg break and googlies. I think I just saw 1 googly thus far for her this morning. I'm not certain if she will try to present anymore at this particular time. But good bonks. The batter was trying to hit it through mid-wicket, but that one bonks where the wicket-keeper took it about chest height, in my view. So the Windward Islands would not like to see Trinidad and Tobago get anywhere close 80, because that is a total more likely can be represented. And on this occasion, another run again for Trinidad and Tobago, so they will take them in any form or fashion, and they really need some boundaries now though. But these 2 batters, it will be good if they can bat out the overs, not just bat out the overs, but get boundaries from here on in for the remaining deliveries that they would have to face.
I just think Zayda James might be a little disappointed there with that effort, giving away that single. I know she usually prides herself on her fielding, probably wasn't as aware as she should have been to them taking that particular single, but it's meant that they can rotate the strike. Brings Ramnath to face now. And she's gone through her defenses. The off stump is leaned back, and that is wicket number 2 for Affy Fletcher.
Well, and that is the beauty about a right arm leg break googly bowler. We can look at the monitor, and it appeared like that one was the googly on that occasion, and it struck the off stump, meaning that it will come once it's pitched outside the off stump, which it did. And she lost the off stump, probably most likely not negotiating that was the googly on that occasion. So just before Affy Fletcher did release that delivery, I was saying that this is an appropriate time also to, and we are now getting a beautiful picture of the Robert Llewellyn Bracher International Airport, one of the jets. Is that the American Airlines? Which one that would
It
be?
looks more like an Amerijet on that particular occasion.
I'm not too familiar.
Usually for cargo.
I'm not too familiar with aircrafts, but so that was just a random guess.
Yeah, but in fact,
that's a nice picture though. And we like to congratulate our video analyst and the whole crew there for the excellent job that they have provided, both in the Super 50 and also in this 20 plays. All the ground staff, all the umpires, all the scorers, everybody. Because when you get into name calling and you don't mention certain person's name, they will say, Eddie, well, what was that? You didn't mention me. So everybody. And thus far, the Windward Islands right here at Warner Park, though after winning the toss, we can tell those of you, especially who might just be joining the view and the conversation here at Warner Park, 58 it is on the board. Trinidad and Tobago batting first after being inserted by the Windwards. 9 wickets down. Fletcher looking for the final one. And the Windwards will be most pleased. And thus far, this has been their most outstanding performance in this 20 plays.
yeah, the new batter to the crease is Steffi Sugrim. And just operating with the conventional leg break. 17 ball, it's a 58 for 9. Just going back to that wicket that she took of Ramnath. In fact, it was that conventional leg break delivery, and it gripped in the surface quite nicely, turning away from the bat of Ramnath. And it was just a case of a well-bowled delivery, not coming to grips almost with it. I wouldn't necessarily say it turned more than she expected, but another one down of a Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas, and no, probably might be guilty of not batting out their overs here.
Well, the two batters just had a mid-pitch exchange of words, and we're going to see a bowling change from this, the Northern or Singapore Southwell Media Centre end, and the chief wicket taker for the Windward Islands being reintroduced, Joseph, from this, the Northern end, and she's going to look, obviously, to try and get this final wicket for her team. 58 is the total, 9 wickets down. Here we have in a lovely picture now of the Bastia Harbour, one of the, well, back with the cricket here at Warner Park. Joseph looking for the final wicket.
It'll be interesting here to see the approach of Ramarak, especially given how she took the swing to Affy Fletcher with the ball going across her. The matchup now favors her left arm spinner to her being the left arm batter, and the type of swing that she took to Affy Fletcher could work here for Kiana Joseph. The question is, will it come off for her though? But probably in terms of that type of shot and the risk factor, probably better served taking it versus Kiana Joseph, who, as we know, is the chief wicket taker for them across that Super 50. And been brought back to wrap up the innings now. Probably might enjoy bowling a few more deliveries to the right-handed batter of Steffi Sugrim as well, coming at number 11. Can't get it past. Affy Fletcher doing the work at cover. A single and 2 dots in this Joseph over so far. And she's gone through the defences. That's going to be the end of the innings. 59 all out. Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas. Certainly not the picture that they would have wanted to paint here this morning in the first match of round number 3 of this CWA Women's T20 Blaze. The toss, well, that went in favour of the Windward Islands, and since then, everything has been them.
Yes, and a super magnificent performance by the Windward Islands after winning the toss here at Warner Park, asking Trinidad and Tobago to bat first and bowling them out for 59, 10 wickets. So the Windwards, when they get the opportunity at the crease, they will have to get 60 runs in 20 overs. Well, they, Captain Affy Fletcher and all of the players still out in the middle, actually having their conversations and most likely congratulating each other, and no doubt also mainly now to focus on what will be their approach as to how they approach to get these 60 runs. But Joel, a very outstanding performance by the Windward Islands after winning the toss here at Warner Park, bowling them out for 59 runs, and the Windwards really turned it on here in this first segment as the ground staff now going out with a roller, and they're going to do the different gardening. But for those of you who might just be joining the view on the conversation, that's the news here at Warner Park. And Joel, the Windward Islands would need to go out there and apply themselves, and especially in that first power play though, if Trinidad and Tobago can be tight and pick up 1 or 2 early wickets, then a game is still on hand, because all games are still on hand, but it will be very, very interesting.
Yeah, certainly a game still on the hand here, but 60 needed for the Windward Islands. And that scorecard, well, it's not looking too happy for Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas. Just one in double figures. That was the opener, Renice Boyce. Everybody else in single figures, and no real momentum across the innings. And that's where the real credit towards the Windward Islands is, in terms of just keeping that consistent pressure on them Janaba Joseph, she went for a duck. 6-7, 3-7, 5-5, 4-4, and a duck as well. That's the remainder of the scorecard for Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas. So a lot for them to look at and to work on coming on to the last 2 rounds of this game. But when they come out to bowl, well, they're going to have to apply themselves. Certainly taking early wickets will be a part of the conversation for them. The Windwards, they'll be hoping to get off to a fantastic start. But 60 needed. When we come back, it's going to be more action here in the CWA Women's T20 Blaze.
Welcome back to Warner Park, and good day to everyone, especially those of you who might just be joining the view here at Warner Park and the conversation that we are having in this series here, that it is the Windward Islands versus Trinidad and Tobago. With me is Joel Manning, our guest commentator, my very good friend from Barbados. And Joel, the Windward Islands, if you were to advise the batters, what would be the instructions, especially to the openers, to set a foundation in trying to get to the 60 runs for victory?
Well, in terms of, I think the approach, what it should be for them is simply play positive cricket. I don't think that looking at the total of just 60 that they can relax and go into shell and think that there's time and balls. You always find that in situations like that, when you don't get off to the best of starts, so you find yourself in a bit of problems coming into the back half of the innings. So positivity is the name of the game if you're Windwards, and wickets is the name of the game if you are Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas.
Well, one of the things on behalf of Trinidad and Tobago, if they can get most of their deliveries on target, meaning wicket to wicket, because defending a total of 59, it will take that level of consistency, first of all, off the bowlers to make the batters play, and then sometimes some indiscretions can come in. And this first delivery is on a good length, played back to the bowler. Keeper standing up, solitary slip, a point cover, extra cover, a mid-off. So we can see definitely on the offside, though, that the fielders are closer to the wicket. At least two fielders, the cover and the extra cover. And here is one played on the offside, so good so far. And opening with spinners too, it also sends an indication to the batters that the rhythm of your feet movement is not as good as most of the times usually when you face up to seam bowlers at first, where, and especially if the spinner has good variety, that would make batters have to use their feet or think about using their feet. But so far we have two dot deliveries. Trinidad and Tobago defending 59, and here is one played out to short cover, no more runs, so a good start thus far. And it is
Karishma Ramarat, in fact, opening the bowling. Somebody who's opening the bowling for Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas across this tournament.
Well, doing good so far in her deliveries. Out to short mid-on, who lost balance for a little while, but prevented any possibility of a run.
And she bowled her 4 overs, 1 for 14 versus Jamaica. Probably might want to do just a little bit better than that, just in terms of the runs. Probably bowl those 4, 2 for 10, even here today, given the total on the board.
Oh, and Trinidad and Tobago could not have asked for a better opening start in defense of their 59 that they scored when the Windward Islands bowled them out after winning the toss. So a maiden, and the Windward Islands, though, there's no need for any indiscretions early on or throughout the innings in trying to get these 60 runs for victory. Here we have a nice view of the St. George's Anglican Church in Bath there. That has gone off of the monitor quite quickly, but it looked like the captain herself, and a very good move. I like to see this move by Anisa Mohammed, the captain of Trinidad and Tobago, knowing that she is the most experienced of her bowlers on her team, and being the captain, taking the responsibility, and will open the attack from the southern or Lozak Road end. Anisa Mohammed.
Well, she bowled a spell of 2 overs to start versus Jamaica. First spell went none for 10, but she kept things relatively tight. Picked up 3 for 19 across the 4 in the end. Those 3 coming in 1 over. the final over that she bowled versus Jamaica, and what caused the downfall and broke the rhythm of the Jamaicans, who look set to put on quite a decent total. Here, though, a different task for her, looking for early wickets. And that communication coming into play again. Funny enough, as the James was run out the last time this pair came out to bat. In fact, the Windwards, another team who've also been plagued by communication problems. They'll be hoping not to have those today, because it's those type of things that bring a team like Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas back into this encounter.
Beautiful, Twinny. You know finding the areas, Twinny. You know finding the
And I also don't think the surface has changed much since Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas have been batting, so probably will still be holding up a bit. The ball will grip in the surface, and that will work for Anisa Mohammed. Oh, she tries to get after this one, and it just gets over the head of mid-on. It was interesting to see how early she seemed to settle, and I figured that the ball might have been dropping into her lap, but in fact kind of misjudged it, and it dropped over her head.
Yeah, if she was judging it a little better, she would have been pedaling, or should have been pedaling backwards and keeping her eyes on the ball. Well, that was not to be, but Anisa Mohammed, quite rightly so, introducing herself into the opening attack also from the southern end, and so far this is a good over for her. That's Anisa Mohammed, and now the batter trying to hit it over mid-wicket. Over number 2 have been completed. 4 runs on the board. The Windward Islands, they need 108 balls to face and to get some 50 odd runs. But here's the quick picture of the St. George's Anglican Church Tower in Bastia, St. Kitts. So thanks to our video experts.
Keep going, Chris.
4 it is. Without loss, the Windward Islands. They have 56 runs to get in 108 balls. So the margin of balls to be bowled is of a great deal amount. So on behalf of the Windward Islands, they might be well advised. No indiscretions is appropriate in these circumstances. But wickets for Trinidad and Tobago will be the other side of the coin.
And she finds the outer edge, but falls just short of Anisa Mohammed. Interesting to know that 2 fielders can be out in the power play overs, but just opting for one, sweeping on the cover boundary. That's because of the fact that they don't have much runs to play with. Need to keep that early pressure on the Windward Islands. Can't get it through the cover ring. Had a chance to look back at Glasgow's innings across this T20 blaze, and she's quite strong going through the offside. Quite a few runs to come in that region.
What also can be interesting too, if the Windward Islands do not get many boundaries in this first power play and would lose 1 or 2 other early wickets, big game on hand here.
Well, certainly given how things have shaped up across women's cricket, we certainly expect that this, even though you would call it a low total, is something that Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas might tell themselves might be enough if they can do everything right here. Can't afford to make mistakes, and even the half chances are the ones that they have to take here. And the question is, how much closer can she get to that off stump? Because I nearly thought that that was number 1. Just a little occasions here, the outer edge of the bat, inside edge of the bat, missing the stump, no missing everything. As a day like today, you just need everything to go right for you if you were Trinidad and Tobago. And can't get the measure of that one either. To close out 3 overs, it's a 4 without loss.
Yes, and thus far Trinidad and Tobago are doing very good, keeping it tight, especially inside that 30-yard circle. Here we get in another very good picture of what was then the Bastille Sugar Factory in the background. And Joel, when we keep mentioning at the Southern or Lozak Road, and all these lands here were sugar lands, and behind where we are behind our backs here from the media center, and all those lands also too had comprised of the Lozak estate. So it was a Lozak estate many years ago that was in this particular area of the island of St. Kitts. So the phraseology of the Lozak Road, and it comes from the historical background from the estate that all these lands were many years ago. But here is Mohammed from the southern or Lozak Road end, that same end, and flighted delivery and no run. So 4 it is, and 101 balls to get just over the 50 mark. So wickets also can turn things around for Trinidad and Tobago. So figuratively, yes, 59 is a modest total, or moderate total, but at the same time though, with a bowler and that high possibility that one can get a hat-trick, it's never out of the ruling. But runs for the Windward Islands, at least they're going to get 2 or thereabout. It doesn't appear like it has the legs to reach to the third-man boundary, and so it is that 2 more valuable runs for the Windward Islands. They are chasing 60 for victory here against Trinidad and Tobago. They are presently 6 without loss.
Yeah, just using the pace of delivery on that particular occasion, using our skills as Ada James, getting deep into the crease and just opening the face of the bat.
.99 balls, 54 runs to be had by the Windward Islands. A good flighted delivery. The batter had to come down on it quite quickly. So possibly there is not much of a wind coming across the ground from east to west, but if there is Mohammed again, here is she. What would happen on this occasion? Wicket to wicket again delivers, keeping the batters tight. So thus far, the Trinidad and Tobago in this first power play, Joel, they have contained things relatively well.
Yeah, you probably also expected that as well in terms of how things have just shaped up so far in the early exchanges of this innings. This player might actually prefer pace on the ball. So with the pace off the ball, the completion of 4 overs, 6 without loss, the Windward Islands. But with the pace off the ball, when we're having to almost force it and do all the work, you probably might tell yourself that Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas might be in for what would be a very quiet 6 overs here. The question though on hand is the rotation of bowlers. I mentioned the fact that in the last game, Anisa Mohammed just bowled the 2 in her opening spell, then went to Leanne Kirby from that Lozak Road. And will she do something similar to here today, or will she look to operate with her spinners for the majority of, let's say, the early exchanges of this game? Whether or not is the case, even if the wickets don't come, can they build up those dot balls? Because even though we're looking at 60 as a target, you're saying that there's no scoreboard pressure, there is mental pressure out there for the players because they want to score the runs, and that's where you also could look to get a mistake or 2. So I just wonder if Anisa Mohammed will look to operate with her spinners going across probably the first 10 of this encounter, as we see Ramarak into bowl what is now her 3rd over of this. The energy still out there. Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas believe that this can be done. Probably pitching outside leg on that occasion. The umpire confirms just that. Operating over the wicket to the left-hander, that LBW is quite difficult to get. We've also seen the ball turning out to the surface as well. That one looked a little closer, but the inside edge is maybe what saved her. Coming back for 2, and the throw will help them get it quite easily.
Keep going, Chris. Keep going, Chris. That's good bowling still, Chris.
It looks as if Anisa Mohammed just giving a bit of advice to Ramarak in terms of what to bowl. It looked as if she was telling her just to maybe push through one. I'm not sure. And goes with the conventional off break on that occasion. Maybe just a touch flatter. Oh, she looks to come down. And communication issues again. But Zeta James gets home. So just flirting with danger, dancing with fire at the moment, the Windward Islands. But I mentioned those half chances, those moments are the ones that you just need to have go your way, especially in low scoring encounters like this.
It sounded to me like I picked up the striker of the ball was calling early, but I do not know why the little hesitancy was from the non-striker. You have to trust your partner's call, who is a striker, and once it goes behind your back, it's the striker's call. I mean, that's an area of concern, and obviously the coaches would work on those areas because we have seen it as a pattern. And here we are now seeing a nice ferry going across to the sister island of Nevis. And waters from our view, it looks very calm for sailing across. Which one would that be? And okay. So 9 without loss. And I think at this particular moment, Trinidad and Tobago has done very good in this first part of the power play. And
keep going.
Here we are at Warner Park. Another change of bowling coming from that southern Holozak road end. 9 it is without loss. Trinidad and Tobago batted first after the Windward Islands won the toss, and they were all out for 59 runs. So,
well, I did say that Anisa Mohammed used herself in 2-over bursts to start things off. And now seeing a change. It's Steffi Subram who comes into the attack now. Operating left arm over the wicket to Glasgow.
White ball.
I was wondering if the umpire might signal, and Carl Tuckett does just that. Spreads the arms and lets us know that it's a wide. Yeah, just asking Sugrim to remove that bit of tape off of the bowling arm. As you know, nothing can be on the hand, especially on that palm area of the bowler. A much better call from this pair. An early call from Glasgow, and James responded in the affirmative. But so far, you would have to say that still in the driver's seat, still advantage Windward Islands.
Absolutely. Good afternoon, Joel. 11 without loss. Lots of balls to go.
Once again, looking for that deft touch. Zeta James looking to use whatever pace is on offer from Sugrim. It's been interesting to see her make that adjustment in terms of when she was batting Anisa Mohammed. I believe it was the first over that Mohammed was bowling. She looked for what we consider to be that slog, almost and towards co-corner. Didn't get it. And since then, we've not seen her look to use that one again. But in fact, has now looked just worked the ball behind square, picked up a couple ones, picked up a 2. And I think on this surface, probably a better option for her. At least until things probably just dry out a bit more. The ball might come onto the bat a little better as well.
Good positive call in there again. You heard the shout of no. With that ball being driven down to mid-off. Sugrim once more. Final ball of her first over.
Oh, and she gets it to the gap. And she's going to end it off with a boundary. So a positive result for the Windwards Islands. That takes them to 16 without loss after 6.
And without any unnecessary risk so far. So that's good for the Windwards Islands. I'm sure they'd definitely like to win this match. And of course, again, we're seeing the picture from the harbour here in St. Kitts and Nevis as the 6th over is completed. Windwards Islands in search of 60 runs for victory. And they are taking their sweet time, trying to get there. 16 without loss, and it looks like Ramharak. Did I get that right? Or Ramnet? We'll see in a minute who will take up the ball in here from the northern end or the media center end.
Yeah, it is indeed Ramnath replacing Ramharak here at this end. And I guess moving in expected fashion almost, Anisa Mohammed, in terms of a question in terms of the use of spin, especially across the first 10, given that this pair enjoy the ball coming onto the bat from the seamers. I talked about the fact that in that game versus Jamaica, her first change was going to Leanne Kirby, now opting to keep spin in operation 1 because the surface is just still a bit tacky. The ball's holding up a bit. There's some turn as well there on offer. 1 or 2 fault strokes. It could bring about the results that they're looking for.
I know, and Kirby is their leading wicket taker so far, with 5 in the 2 games that she's played.
It starts with a dot ball. Ramnath. Doesn't get all of that one. Probably should get 2. And they'll settle for that. Looking to take on deep mid-wicket Zeta James. I mentioned the fact that she played a shot like that to Anisa Mohammed early in the piece. Now going back for that option. Probably a lot slower of a bowler as well. Samar Ramnath. So probably no pace for Zeta James to use, and as we saw her looking to work the ball earlier.
And as a result, no power behind the shot whatsoever.
Well, this could be wicket number 1. And gleefully accepted. That is what Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas needed. Zeta James looking to force 1. Oh, she's got to depart.
18 for 1. Windwards lost their first wicket. And again, it comes back to the slowness of the pitch. Here she was essaying a big drive. The ball came off, probably more the top of the bat, sky into mid-off, who took an easy catch to send the Windwards 1 down in their pursuit of 60. They need 42 runs in another 81 balls. Advantage Windwards. But anything is possible in this game. I'm sure that Trinidad and Tobago Divas are not going to give up a couple wickets here and there. And the complexion of the game can completely change.
Yeah, certainly at no stage writing Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas out of this contest, especially given that I know that they're packed with spin and what spin could probably do on this surface when batters aren't getting the runs, when there's no real momentum in the innings. And that, to me, was a false shot there from Zeta James, looking to force the game on that occasion. And that is what Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas are looking for. Oh, strikes to the crease, Afi Fletcher, the captain for the Windward Islands.
Not necessarily in a similar situation to when Anisa Mohammed came to the crease, but still a very important part of the game. She needs to stay there.
Well, that one's going to run backward of point. It's going to be the first run off the bat for Afi Fletcher. Yeah, certainly an important time for her to be at the crease. If there's somebody that you want to be out there, somebody with experience, somebody who can probably understand the dynamics of looking to work the innings. Because yes, you want to have that momentum in terms of scoring runs, but you also want somebody who has the ability to work the ball around and find those gaps. Somebody, funny enough, like Anisa Mohammed, in terms of the way that she plays, and that is Afi Fletcher, especially going through the offside. She's very good off the back foot, Afi Fletcher, and with the pace of this surface, those types of shots come into play.
Definitely right, and she knows as well too how to analyze the game and the wicket, as we thought that she did perfectly this morning when she asked the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas to take first strike. 19 for 1, 7 gone, 13 to go. Windwards are in pursuit of their second victory in the CWI Women's T20 Blaze, been played here at Warner Park in St. Kitts.
Yeah, that is middle.
In pursuit of victory, but in their way at present, wearing the red and black of the land of steel pan. Hey, ladies from Trinidad and Tobago. They'll be hoping that the pan favors them today. Oh, the sweet sounds of pan. I could do with a steel pan here today, probably, especially given it's a T20 match. You know, I had a chance to be here for the Under-19 World Cup, and it was certainly a festive atmosphere here at Warner Park.
Oh, it was. We had the reigning Panorama champions, the EBJ Harmonics, supplying entertainment here during the tournament.
Yeah, I also had a chance to do some dancing, and there's a traditional dance that I did, and I cannot remember the name that they had me do out there on the banks as well. It might come back to me at some point. But in Operation Steffi Sugrim. And I talked about the fact that Afi Fletcher is very nice off of the back foot, and they're just getting back, using the depth of the crease almost, and working the ball quite nicely into the offside. And that's what he's going to take here, batting on this surface at the moment. The shots that we've seen been the downfall of batters is when they're looking to force the pace, the ball almost. It's a case of having to allow that ball to come to you, playing a lot later, and that's where back foot cricket will come into play, unless it is an over-pitch delivery.
Okay, and good calling again. That one was played down to mid-on by Afi Fletcher, who's looking very competent so far. And I definitely agree with you. She doesn't look like she's trying to force the pace. Looks like she's taking her time. She's on 3 so far, early days yet, but she definitely looks, and here she goes.
Cut away quite nicely, using that back foot again. And that is a welcome boundary for her and the Windward Islands.
25 for 1. 7 to Afi Fletcher. Very, very good looking shot. Not sure, maybe the shot of the match so far. Getting on our back foot and cutting that one down to backward square for 4 runs. A well-needed boundary, and taking the equation closer and closer to the target for the Windwards. They now need only 35 runs from quite a few deliveries.
Yeah, probably can't afford to give Afi Fletcher much width, given that she's extremely strong in that area. Probably need to keep it quite straight and tight here. Driving beautifully, but just for 1. Had a nice sound off the bat there of Afi Fletcher.
definitely looking as if she wants to take command of this game, and a possible victory here for the Windward Islands to, take them to second place. So far, of course, today, this game is just the start of the third round. We have 2 other games coming up this afternoon, 2:30 and 7 p.m. here at Warner Park. So if you're watching or you're listening, come on out and join us here at Warner Park for some lovely cricket.
No! No ball signaled. And that is something that Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas can ill afford in this low-scoring encounter. A free hit now for Janelia Glasgow. And she's going to welcome it, especially given that in terms of the matchup, it favors her. The left arm spin of Sugrim to the left-handed batter of Glasgow. Free hit time. What can she do with it? Well, she gets inside her crease. A run out on offer. Can they get it? No, they can't. So it's just one from the free hit.
Looks like she was bowled, didn't she?
She got inside the line of it and was bowled. But given that she can't be out on it, they scampered a single, added 1 to the total. 8 gone. It's 28 for 1. Now, I mentioned that dance, and I had a little quick scroll through my social media. The name of the dance is Fine.
Fine dance?
Yes.
That's
the dance
that's with the masquerades, yes.
Yes.
And we have a former the head of culture here, so he was quick to tell you. Yeah, it's the Fine dance with one of our cultural groups here, the masquerades. Of course, they've represented us, everywhere that you can think about, including Expo in Dubai last year.
Yeah, it was certainly nice to experience the culture of St. Kitts and Nevis then. So for anybody watching, hey, come down and do a fine dance here.
Yes, we got a lot of fine dancers in St. Kitts.
Well, hoping to maybe take a fine wicket is Ramnath. Well, at this stage,
spectators catch.
Yeah, just one of those ones. At this stage, the dot balls are working for them, but they do need to take wickets. Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas. Well, take wickets they need. Take wickets they get. Ramnath, she strikes again. Wicket number 2 goes down.
And that's a very, very, very soft dismissal. Batter using the feet. This is Glasgow coming down the wicket and just scooping the ball to a mid-on. I guess trying to go over mid-on. It was high enough, but I guess not far enough to get over the head of the mid-on fielder, who took a very comfortable catch. And that leaves Trinidad, the Windward Islands, that is 28 for 2 after 8.2. And Ramnath has taken her second wicket. 2 for 3. She's completed only 1.2 overs so far. So we asked for wicket for Trinidad and Tobago, and they Ramnath delivered. So let's see what happens now, because this is where the pressure can tell. The pressure can definitely tell with the fall of wickets. Dot balls, definitely not so much, because there's 70 balls to go, only 32 runs. Need absolutely to be taking wickets today.
Yeah, and this is why I figured, as we see 2 spectators there taking in the action here in the CWA Women's T20 Blaze, but this is why I figured that spin had to be in operation at the early start of this, because even though there's no scoreboard pressure, that mental burn up, and we've seen 2 shots almost because of that mental burn up, almost looking to keep forcing the game. Never really got to the pitch of that one, Glasgow, and because of that had no real pace of it on it coming off of the bat. An easy catch in the end. The second wicket down, and what it means is that Pearl Etienne now strides to the crease for the Windward Islands.
And she's joining her captain, Affy Fletcher, who is an 8 from 7, and I'm sure looking to lead the way.
Well, if it's somebody that's going to go hard at the ball, it is Pearl Etienne, and because of that, I think there's another opportunity for a chance here for Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas. Similar almost to the approach of maybe like a Brittany Cooper in terms of that power factor for Etienne, and usually towards the leg side as well. And there she is looking to get after the bowling, and that's what you're going to get from Etienne. Scored some runs in the last match, one of the batters that went at over a run of ball for the Windward Islands. But this is a moment here for both sides whereby if Etienne gets away, it's game done for Windward Islands. But if they can take this wicket here, this is what Trinidad need.
Three powerful drives, no runs yet.
Yeah, she's always going to go after the bowling, always going to go after the bowling, always looking for runs, and that is where you're going to get your chance. Maybe just slow it up a bit into the surface. Bat probably comes through before the ball is there, and there's the possibility for a catch. Who knows?
Yes. And there she goes again, another wind up. So 4 powerful shots from Etienne. She still hasn't scored because all those balls went directly to the fielders, and I think the Red Force Divas probably feeling a little bit better about themselves after those 2 overs from Ramnath. She has put them in a better position by taking 2 wickets, and she's only given away 3 runs so far. So good going by Ramnath, and I'm sure her captain Anisa Mohammed must be proud of her.
Yeah, certainly. Now we're going to see the first signs of pace on the ball in this match, in this innings for Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas.
Change. Right arm over.
I'm thinking it looks like Leanne Kirby, but I'm not exactly certain. Kirby and Alexander,
yes,
in fact, is the one who's picked up the ball from that Lozak Road end. Now I'm thinking maybe into the surface, some cutters, that kind of stuff is what's going to work for her here. And instantly we see pace off, and that's probably what we might get across the majority deliveries from Kirby and Alexander. In fact, it appears I might have been correct in terms of what my eyesight showed me originally.
So it is Kirby.
To your wee bit, to see your wee bit.
You've got to trust the 2020 vision. But yeah, certainly that first delivery tells me that they're thinking that surface deliveries are what's going to work for them here. Take the pace off, force Windward Islands to bring everything to them. Once again, pace off from them. So fantastic cricket, you would have to say, and fantastic talking going on out there from them, and looking to get the right fielders in the right positions, because I mentioned Pearl Etienne. In fact, she's going to go to the leg side majority of the deliveries with power, getting Brittany Cooper now to that mid-on position, making a change, and it looks like Ramnath now at mid-wicket.
Yes, getting a taller player there. Okay, Etienne gets off the mark.
Yeah, just a little upset that single would have happened there, because you really want to keep that pressure on, because you're looking for that shot from Pearl Etienne that goes across, and I think more than likely is going to be a top edge if she's going to leg that hard with the pace off. Probably better served looking to go down the ground, Pearl Etienne, to make full back face contact with those deliveries. Pace off again from Leanne Kirby.
I like them areas, Kirby. I like them areas. Huh?
It's fantastic thinking cricket here from them, understanding the conditions and operating to said conditions, because I do remember, especially in that game versus Jamaica, it was more so pace on for her, just a touch outside of the off stump, a bit of movement away as well. I mentioned the fact that she was brought in as first change, now brought in over number 10 here.
Okay, and this one is
oh, that back foot coming into position again, and another boundary for Afi Fletcher.
she's definitely looking good to complete the 10th over. A 4 to end that over, taking the score to 34 for 2. And the Windwards are definitely looking good. We're going to take, of course, well, the players are going to take a break for drinks as Victor Eddie comes a-calling. And that's what his best friend from Barbados says.
Yes, indeed. Yes, Joel Manning.
So good.
Yes, and it's a pleasure.
No. I'm talking about Mr. Andrew Mason.
He did call?
No. He didn't call. He just says that you have, you come a-calling. So,
yes, that's my very good friend. That's my very good friend. How are you, Andrew Mason? You're missing some lovely mangoes. Clement Agaro, he has
and barbecue chicken from his barbecue chicken from his friend. But anyway,
yes.
The players are now taking a break. Of course, 34 for 2. You probably want to think that Windwards are in the ascendancy here at Warner Park in this T20 Blaze game. The captain is at the crease. She looks very positive. And Etienne, of course, looks very positive as well, even though she hasn't scored much. But these two definitely look like they're willing to take it all the way. And we're looking at a picture here of Bastia. Not sure exactly where that is. Maybe it's not quite. But yes, and I guess maybe probably giving you just a little taste of something to come. Here in St. Kitts, of course, we are celebrating the Summer of Fun. St. Kitts Nevis, that is. We're celebrating the Summer of Fun. And of course, as you know, Victor, the Leeward Islands Masters Tournament bowls off this coming Thursday with a reception at the Governor General's. That's Dame Marcella's. She's throwing out the patron of the Cricket Association. I think she is still. And so a celebration to welcome the Masters cricketers who would be coming from, I think, 6 or 7 territories in the Leeward Islands to take part in the tournament. And, of course, I will be at the celebrations on Thursday night as well. Getting geared up for my summer. We have the Mango Festival in Nevis coming up. We have Music Festival. And I know I spoke to you in the back and you told me you're going to go see Burna Boy, right?
Boy, so much activities is going to happen in this place and so forth. But really and truly, it is good that, after COVID and we be in lockdown and prisons in our own land, in the sense health-wise, that is, eh?
And the music festival would be right here, on the stage right here at Warner Park. It's moving back from the Kim Collins Stadium. But it's back to the cricket, and Ramnath, who has been the successful bowler so far, 2 overs, 2 wickets for 3 runs. She's now coming in from the media center end. And Etienne essays a big drive outside the off stump and misses.
There we go, humans. They the energy we want, yes. Come on.
Well, the Windward Islands, at this present moment, there is no need for any indiscretions. And here is one, directly played down to short third man. And in the end, Etienne would get another run. And this advances the Windward Islands' cause in trying to get to 60 for victory. They are now 35 for 2, 58 balls to be bowled, 25 runs to be had. No indiscretions, no doubt. Persons, especially in the Windward Islands, who are backing their teams, and no doubt those who live in St. Kitts and Nevis, and further afield, would be hoping that they can go to victory by getting to 60. That's the Windward Islands. And after winning the toss, that was a calculated decision. But here they are now. And the captain is batting, Afi Fletcher. In this particular situation, too, the ideal individual, as the captain is there, so she can actually keep guiding things as how to get these remaining runs that they will have to get. And here, quietly, and here is where a few dot balls wouldn't matter much, but you can't bring it too close, where it's even Steven, otherwise it can be more difficult or more challenging for the Windward Islands. But at this particular moment, they'll just have to keep exchanging the strike. No, not on this occasion. The fielders in the 30-yard circle, quite aware of the situation, which is very important to keep that little pressure on the batters. One or two indiscretions might creep in once that particular area being covered nicely, whereby the batters don't get easy runs. But here is it. That might be the pressure that I was saying. That and Afi Fletcher goes. Was that appropriate a stroke to make? She did not move her feet, first of all, in trying. And if she just stayed there and tried to deliver it, well, back to the pavilion and not leading by example.
Definitely a shot that was not on, not necessary at this particular time. Ramnat was coming to the end. She has one more ball in this over, and all they needed to do was to just play out Ramnat. She seems to have been the bowler so far, been the most penetrative. I think Afi Fletcher definitely gave it away on that occasion. 35 for 3. She's gone for 13 after facing 15 deliveries, and I'm sure the Red Force are happier than they were 2 balls ago.
And one of the things that I have seen a lot of times where people give coaches a lot of blame when they do not deserve it. Now, here is a situation, for example, where so many deliveries or so much balls to be bowled. The captain is at the crease. The percentage of balls to be bowled is almost as equal as the amount of runs to be had. And that type of indiscretion, who can convince Victor Eddy that a coach is to be blamed for that indiscretion? No.
So you don't blame coaches for anything at all?
Players, give me a chance. Players at times should be able or supposed to be able to assess the situation out there in the middle, having a conversation with your other partner. And the coach is irrelevant in a sense that the players out there in the middle, they have a responsibility and to make proper assessment of the situations and play to the situation, whereby the Windward Islands, batting-wise and trying to chase that total, is under no pressure. So there is no need for strokes like that. And the captain did not lead by example, Afi Fletcher.
Thank you for your rant, Viv. Okay. Seems as if that you're very passionate about that.
Yeah, because sometimes it might sound repetitive. They get blamed for a lot of instances which they should not.
Okay, well, Kiana Joseph has joined Etienne, Pearl Etienne at the crease. Windward's 35 for 3. And we got Anisa Mohammed coming in for her 3rd over.
Well, at least that was a good single because the striker called early. The fielder was on her knees. It went to her right, not too far out of reach. And that also eases the pressure with batters. If you keep exchanging the strike, less pressure, because every bowler would think different when they bowl into different batters, how to put them into making mistakes. But if a bowler have an opportunity to bowl numerous deliveries to one batter, it is easier to really work that player out. Well, Joseph is on strike now, and she is a very aggressive batter, but Anisa Mohammed, on the other hand, coming from the Southern Lozak Road end, a very experienced and top-class spinner. Oh my, and almost of all stroke. That could have gotten a leading edge, but in the end it went all along the ground, no run. But this is where the experience Anisa Mohammed came in, and you alluded to it earlier, Clement. She came on, she bowled 1 or 2, pulled herself out the attack. A wicket has gone down now, a new batter is at the crease, put back herself in the attack because the new batter would not have settled at this particular moment. Here is she, what would happen now? One, and a good one, spinning across the left-hander. So ringing the changes nicely so far in the circumstances.
Following a similar pattern to the game against Jamaica, where she bowled her first 2 overs for 10, came off and then came back and took three wickets in 1 over. I think she ended up with 3 for 17 or 3 for 19. Here's a quick single. This ball going past the fielder at slip. And looks like she may have done... okay, so they're calling for the physio, who comes onto the field. But with that single, the score moves to 37 for 3.
I was wondering for a moment, though, as I got that single there, and we hope that that player is not too seriously injured. She lost her footing. She's still on the ground. I was wondering for a moment, Clem, whose call that was with that single, because it was still in the vision of the striker, but I think the non-striker would have had a better view.
Well, the key thing is that, somebody needs to call. And if you're going to call, you need to call with intent. You can't mumble. In situations like that where sometimes each player can call. Of course, there are obvious situations where the batter calls or the non-striker calls. But the key thing is to make sure that you're communicating and not just running wildly or ball watching, as we've seen in some of those runouts earlier in the Trinidad and Tobago innings.
At one time, St. Kitts was playing Montserrat in a Leeward Islands cricket tournament. And in those times, it was radio broadcast. So a lady who used to follow my cricket very keenly, when it was the luncheon, when it came to the luncheon interval, St. Kitts was in the field. And she said, I don't know, for whatever reason, I could have heard your voice the loudest asking for the leg before. How is that? So, and it used to go to, based upon where you were in the field too and so on. But that was radio, and those were
even in the days when they didn't have stump mics?
No, those were in the days when they didn't have stump mics. Well, you're right.
You must have been screaming at the top of your lungs there.
You're right on par. And then sometimes too, Clement, I used to have this way in the wicket. When I mean no, everybody in the ground could hear me as spectators. No! That's all.
Well,
but
good.
Anyway, we are back with the action, which is more relevant in this booth, where our conversation continues. And interestingly, 49 balls, 23 runs, Clem. Come on, where is the thought, first of all, for indiscretion? It has no place in this situation, but we will see it. And it would not go off the face of this 2020 encounter. Loud appeal by Mohammed, actually looking for the fourth. Carl Turkett stood his ground and said not out. 37 for 3 after 12 overs. The Windwards, they would have to get 60 if they should get victory, because when they won the toss and sent in Trinidad and Tobago, they bowled them out for 59.
Ramnath 3 for 4 with 15 dot balls. So Ramharak, she has a 16 dot balls. But as we're saying, dot balls are not necessarily consequential, though they can cause batters to, do something irrational. We'll see how it goes. Ramnath will bowl her fourth over. She's the only wicket taker so far. She's coming into bowl to Joseph.
Yes, and good start. Right on about center and leg stump. That area is very important to be bowled now, with just some 23 runs to be had. As often wicket-to-wicket deliverers. One struck back into the ground. The bowler did not feel cleanly to her own bowling, but prevented any possibility of any further run. 46 balls to be bowled, 23 runs for victory the Windward Islands here against Trinidad. at Warner Park. A flighty delivery being swept into the backward square leg boundary for 4.
A very convincing shot indeed. Ramnath erred in putting the ball too far. Well, mostly towards the onside. She erred in bowling straight to there, and Joseph swung it around backward of square, and 4 runs, so 41. Now 19 runs needed.
45 balls to be bowled. Here is the first of those 45. Short extra cover, no run. Not intentionally throwing back the ball there. It's a good thing the non-striker were keeping their eyes Etienne on the ball, but a friendly exchange of words there. Good sportsmanship. Here is another delivery. Well fielded, struck straight to the field at point.
Well done.
So we can see, Clem, that Joseph, any opportunity to extend their arms, she's going to do it.
And with 1 more ball to go from Ramnath, my advice is to just play her out. Well,
play out to the boundary.
Almost in the same spot. Well, this one was short, and she was able to swing this one around. That's Joseph. Another boundary, and strange enough, this is the most expensive over from Ramnath. Her last over, she took 3 for 8. So maybe the captain, might have second thoughts after letting her bowl out. But 45 it is for 3 in the 13th over. Windwards are getting closer and closer to that second victory.
42 balls, 15 runs. And Etienne and Joseph should just be telling themselves, not out, add a little to their average, get this 15 runs without no indiscretions. But Mohammed is flighting. One played late into the cover region, straight to a fielder, which looks like Alexander. She fielded well, prevented any possibility of a further bound. But
come on, girl. 15 is hard. 15 is hard.
Batter's accommodation, no pressure whatsoever. No silly mid off, no silly mid on. Here is Etienne turning it to a short
well done, human beings.
back with the square on the onside. There's a fielder there, so they have to wait. They're not going to get these 15 runs that easily.
The real pressure.
I don't know, it always crosses my mind some aspect when games come down to this actually position.
Well done,
I don't know why, Clem, but a hat-trick always crosses my mind. Just probably for a different complex of the game. And even if that comes, if it should happen, wow, what an interesting factor sometimes. But it does not exist. It's only speculation on my behalf.
Well, it worked both ways because it could be a hat-trick of boundaries that takes the Windwards to victory.
There you go again. You see, that is why this guy is a Calypsonian also too in his own right. You see how articulate he is. He might one of these times we might hear something about cricket, and
At least you didn't say former Calypsonian.
Well, I say former, which I'm not hoping for.
And there's a drop catch.
A drop catch, but one.
Good effort.
If you look at the monitor, I believe if the
it was a good attempt.
It was a good attempt.
Was she
moving in with the bowler before the ball released? Then she would have gotten a start to get even closer, but the attempt was very good.
Well, she had to move.
I'm not discrediting.
She had to move to her right.
But no, I was just wondering if she was moving in because, she's moving slightly. Because why I said that to Clem is that once a fielder is moving, it is a lot much more sometimes easier than if you're stationary then taking off. But the effort was very good, and it's good to see that players would make valiant efforts, and that was another one of them. And no doubt we'll see many more in the future.
Well, maybe some more, of course, as you said, maybe some more alertness would have, gotten her there. In the end, she had to, stick out her right arm. And though she didn't take the catch, she may have saved a couple of runs for Trinidad and Tobago. So, 46 for 3. It's the 14 overs gone. We have 6 more, and now it looks like Ram Harak is going to come back in, and she is one who was very, very miserly in her first 3 overs. Just 3 overs for 3 runs. Unfortunately, though, none of the other bowlers were able to make that breakthrough, other than Ramnath, who took 3 wickets in her 4 overs. Ram Harak is in to Etienne down the leg side, and umpire Brown signals a wide. 1 more to the score, and Ram Harak will have to bowl that one again.
Yes, well, Windwards would accept bonuses in any form or fashion to get to this total too, and that is considered a bonus. The white, which you have to re-bowl, and here is another run to the total. So I thought our understanding in the Federation of St. Kitts, usually some governments, they pay a bonus at the year end, December, or a double salary, as so to call it. And here is a delivery. It seems like Etienne did get a dig on it from the reaction of the bowler. Boys might have just flowed that one, so possibly a drop catch, but
there was definitely a reaction. I don't know if it was because it was very close to the off stump, or
it looked like an edge to me.
Oh, okay, well, I think it's been confirmed now
so.
by 2 of my colleagues that it was an edge. So a very vital miss by the Red Force Divas.
Yes. Etienne is coming forward.
Well, she's winding up. She's winding up for a big hit. That's exactly what happened on the first ball, but Ram Harak is pulling her line back, and so she's not able to get to the balls at the length that she wants. And so, as a result, it has produced 0 runs so far from the bat, except that wide on the first delivery of the over. Ram Harak in her final over. She's going to be bowling to Etienne. 4 from 19 so far. And another dot ball.
And that is a high ratio. Etienne have faced so far 20 balls, 4 runs. The other batter, Joseph, far better. 10 deliveries, 9 runs.
She had those 2 boundaries, of course, which helped her average. There we go. Etienne winding up and hitting this one down to cow corner. Gets a single. And you know, as busy as Etienne is, swinging her back left, right, and center, it's amazing that she's only gotten 5 runs from 21 deliveries so far. You would expect it to be the opposite way around, 21 from 5 balls.
Well, should have been the other way around, certainly.
But
a lot of times
she's doing the job for the Windward Islands. She needs to stay there. 12 runs for victory, and that's all that counts at the end of the game.
Well, it can go either way. So it can go either way. But here is a delivery being struck by Joseph, and a good stop by the cover fielder. That looks like Alexander diving to her left. But in the meantime, the batters were able to get another run. So after 15 overs, it's 49 for 3. But quickly, Clem, just before you go, I want to get a clearer understanding as what the referral is as the cow. As the cow corner. What really? I need to be informed or enlightened. What really is a cow corner placement in cricket in Anfield? Where that phraseology came from? And
well, you played the game at almost the highest level.
But
I played at the backyard level, so you should be able to tell me what that is.
Well, as a captain and setting the field, I never tell a fielder, well, go into cow corner, because he would not know where to go. is either wide mid on, wide long on, deep mid wicket, backward square leg, a point, short third man, and so forth. But I hear the phraseology from.
You're giving us the purest view, Victor.
I hear a lot of that explanation, not just from yourself, but many commentators about Kaukana. So I'm trying to be educated. That's all. I'm not being critical about the comment. I want to be educated. Where is the Kaukana? Anyway, the action here, the Windward Islands are on the road for victory. 30 balls to get 11 runs against Trinidad and Tobago right here at Warner Park. Brilliant sunshine. Anisa Mohammed is taking the responsibility, looking for another wicket. And the wicketkeeper taking the bails off, probably. So, Samaro. Well, the thing is that Captain Anisa Mohammed, in trying to dislodge the Windward Islands under the 59, the ringing of the changing of our bowlers and the exchange, looking for wickets. I'm very appreciative of what I've seen in terms of our captaincy and the strategy, especially chasing a small total, which they set on the board. But here is the Windward Islands getting closer to victory. They need now, 10 runs of 28 balls, and 7 wickets are in hand, so everything at this particular moment is in favor of the Windward Islands.
Yeah, but in addition to switching bowlers, of course, Ramnath and Anisa Mohammed, they've both bowled their 4 overs, and that's the reason why Samaru, she's taken over from the Lozak Road end, 50 for 3, 10 runs to go here at Warner Park, and of course yesterday, the National Carnival Committee announced the dates for Sugar Mass 52. And we're going to see who's going to have a carnival here this afternoon at Warner Park. Those dates, of course, are December 15th to January 2nd for our annual carnival this year's Sugar Mass 52. And Vic, there's a slogan competition, so you can, take part. Give us the slogan for Carnival this year.
What is the prize?
$500. Your submissions are due by June 15th.
500 US dollars.
500 East Caribbean dollars. I mean, I know US is the currency of cricket. Oh, here we go with another. Batter just wandering down the wicket. There was no call from the striker. She was just meandering down the wicket and almost cost another run out in the game. But all's well that ends well, and so Etienne will face again from Samaro, who's bowling our first over of the innings.
I just can't get to grips, really. Why would the non-striker be looking back when the caller is just staying to her ground? And she was looking to run, and the striker was not moving out of crease. The one who is striking the ball, if you see movement, then you as the non-striker try to move. But anyway, no danger. They are inching closer to victory, the Windward Islands, and this would be a very resounding and good one for them. 24 balls to get 9 runs. 7 wickets in hand, so the Windward Islands, most likely, is going to come away victorious. You see, Anisa Mohammed, no, it looks like, coming from the northern end. So she bowled out. She has bowled out. I'm sorry. She has bowled out. Sometimes the identicalness, but we have in the monitor, so I pardon for that little mishap there. But the Windward Islands, Sue Grimm is on now. The Windward Islands stars, though, very much in their driving seat, and should come away with what I would consider a very good victory once they get there. How much uncertainties are uncertain now in this particular moment of play? Here is one, and that was the right call. The non-striker on this occasion called early, and what's that, a free hit? Free no ball, so all in the Windward Islands favor. Free hit with what 8 runs to be had. And in this format of this series, off of a free hit, 3 different ways a batter can get out: run out, obstructing the field, or hit the ball twice. You know, hitting the ball twice, I have not heard or seen that actually for a very, very long time. That has been one of the ratings. Not that it is not existing anymore. It doesn't mean what you never see or hear does not exist. But here is what is existing. One more run to the total, and they can do it comfortable. There is no need for, or even though there should still be the urgency looking for every available run, even though the equation, it is what it is right now. 54 for 3, just 6 more runs for victory to Windward Islands. 3 wickets are down. The wonder toss here at Warner Park against Trinidad and Tobago decided to bowl first, and it paid off handsomely for the Windward Islands.
And that's another no ball. And so 2 more runs to the total because they were able to get a run.
So the Windward Islands, they need what, 6 runs, 23 balls, 7 wickets in hand. But Pearl Etienne, she has faced 56, pardon me, 56. It is for 3, 16.1, 4 runs for victory. Here is Joseph hitting it, and she has struck more than 4. She has struck a 6 over the deep mid-wicket boundary. And what a beautiful fashion and way to conclude victory. The Windward Islands coming out victorious here at Warner Park against Trinidad and Tobago.
Finishes at 62 for 3 and 16.2 overs. A good victory for the Windward Islands. The players are now congratulating each other, of course. Kiana Joseph struck the only 6 of the game today. She ended up with 18 from 16 balls. Pearl Etienne, 8 from 27. And so there you go. Windward Islands has now taken their 2nd victory of the T20 Blaze tournament here. That's the CWI Women's T20 Blaze, that is. So another game is done. Victor, your impressions of the game overall?
Yes, overall, first of all, it was a good decision based upon the result that was given to the Windward Islands after winning the toss and decided to ask Trinidad and Tobago to bat first. They bowled them out for 59, and that resulted in a good decision. And in the end, the Windward Islands did it with ease, only losing 3 wickets in the pursuit of the 60 runs for victory. So all in all, I think that this would have been the better victory for the Windward Islands, in my view. Clement, I do not know if you have the ideas that their first victory was a lot much more accomplished than this one, but
well, it basically gives them the same amount of points. So there, of course, maybe things that they could have taken from each of the games. But just quickly here, the scoring card, Glasgow was caught Sugrim Bowl Ramnath for 10. She faced 28 balls and had 1-4. Zeta James caught Sugrim Bowl Ramnath for 8 from 16 balls. Afi Fletcher gave it away, caught O'Neill Bowl Ramnath for 13 from 15 balls with 2 4s. Pearl Etienne was not out 14 from 26 balls. And well, let me just make sure. I think they're switching switching the scores because I think Kiana Joseph was the one who hit the winning run. So, but both Kiana Joseph and Pearl Etienne were not out. Pearl Etienne was 8 not out. Kiana Joseph 18 not out from 15 deliveries. So a good victory for the Windward Islands. And of course, it takes them now into 2nd place. This is the start, of course, of the third round of matches here at Warner Park. And I can tell you that the games to come today, May the 23rd, would be Jamaica against Barbados at 2:30 p.m. Guyana against the Leeward Islands at 7 p.m. So there's still time for you to join us here at Warner Park for more exciting cricket in the CWI, Cricket West Indies Women's T20 Blaze, being played here in St. Kitts for the first time. We're now going to take a break, and we'll be back with you at 2:30 for the next game. Join us then.